Hey there, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle a skill that can honestly open up so many doors for you in your career and, just in life, writing the perfect formal letter.
You know that feeling, right? You're staring at a blank page. Maybe it's for a job application, or an official inquiry, or maybe a complaint you really need to get right. The pressure's on to sound professional. But where do you even start? It can be pretty intimidating, for sure.
But hey, that's what we're here for. Because by the end of this, you're not just going to have some tips. You're going to have a clear, simple blueprint to write with confidence and make exactly the right impression every single time.
Okay, so you might be thinking, in a world full of DMs and emojis, do formal letters even matter anymore? Well, let's dive into what they are and why they are still your secret weapon in some really important situations.
So what is a formal letter, really? Think of it as the total opposite of a quick text message. It's got its own set of rules, and it all boils down to three key things: a specific structure, polite language, and a respectful tone. It basically tells the other person, hey, I'm taking this seriously, and you should too. And honestly, you'll need this skill way more than you think. You're applying for that dream job? Formal letter. Making an official complaint to a company that you want to be taken seriously? Formal letter. Talking to a government department or even your landlord? A really solid formal letter is your ticket to getting results.
All right, let's get into the good stuff, the actual structure. I want you to think of this as a 10-step roadmap. It's a blueprint. Follow these steps in this order, and you literally can't mess it up.
Okay, so it all starts at the very top with the basics. Your address, then the date, and then the address of the person you're writing to. This is like setting the scene, officially. After that, you get into the actual letter, a formal greeting, an opening paragraph that gets right to the point, and then the body paragraphs where you lay out all your details. And then, to finish things off, you'll have a closing paragraph to sum things up or say what you want to happen next. Then comes the sign-off, your actual signature, to make it personal. And right below that, your typed name, so it's perfectly clear who you are. And boom, that's the whole thing, top to bottom. Okay, so now that we have the skeleton, let's zoom in on one of the most critical parts, the beginning. Getting this right is everything, because it sets the tone for the whole letter.
All right, here's rule number 1, and it's a big one. If you know the person's name, you have to use it. Dear Mr. Smith or Dear Dr. Lee shows you've done your research. Now, if you don't have a name, no worries. Just aim for their job title, like Dear Hiring Manager, or you can use the classic Dear Sir or Madam. It's a tiny detail, but wow, it makes a huge difference.
So, let's try a quick pop quiz. Imagine you're writing to a university's admissions office. You've looked, but you can't find a specific name. So, based on what we just talked about, what's the best way to greet them? Yep, you got it. Dear Sir or Madam is a totally safe and formal choice. Even better is using their role, Dear Admissions Officer. It's just a little more specific. Either way, you look like you know what you're doing. Okay, so right after you say, Dear So-and-so, you need to get straight to the point. Seriously, no fluff. No, I hope this letter finds you well. Just jump right in. I am writing to apply for, or I am writing to complain about. That person reading it should know exactly why you're writing within like the first 5 seconds. All right, let's move on to the main event, the body of the letter. This is where you get into the nitty-gritty details, and this is where keeping that formal tone is absolutely crucial. So, how do you do that? It really just comes down to a few simple language rules. First, no contractions. So it's I am, not I'm. It just feels more professional. Second, when you ask for something, be super polite. Use phrases like, I would be grateful if you could. And finally, use formal transition words like therefore and furthermore to help guide the reader through your points. Okay, so you've made your case, you've laid out all the details. Now, how do you stick the landing? Let's talk about the closing. It needs to be professional, but also effective. Your very last paragraph really only has one of two jobs to do. You can either state what you want to happen next, the classic, I look forward to hearing from you, or you can just end on a polite and grateful note, like, thank you for your time and consideration.
Either one works perfectly to wrap things up respectfully.
Okay, now here's a classic rule that trips so many people up, but once you hear the logic, it's actually super simple. If you started with their name, like Dear Mr. Smith, you end with yours sincerely. But if you started with Dear Sir or Madam, you end with yours faithfully. It's a small thing, I know, but getting it right makes you look like a total pro.
Wow, we've covered a ton of ground. So before we wrap up, I want to give you the ultimate tool to make all of this stick. Think of it as your final cheat.
This little table right here, this is basically everything we've talked about in a nutshell. On one side, you have the formal letter, Dear Mr. Smith, using full words like do not, and signing off with yours sincerely. On the other, you have the informal stuff like hey, don't, and cheers. Just keep this image in your head. It's your go-to guide for making sure you always strike the right tone.
And just like that, you've got it. The structure, the language, the key rules. You're not staring at that scary blank page anymore. Now you have the keys. You have the blueprint for clear, confident, professional communication.
So I guess there's only one question left to ask. Now that you've got this blueprint in your back pocket, what door are you going to open first?